What's up, sons? It's Blind Rod with Son of a Tech once again, and today we have yet another talking head video. We do a poll on Twitter to determine the topic for the talking head video, so be sure you follow over at Son of a Tech to get that information. If you want to pick up a Ridge wallet and you've been thinking about it for decreasing that clutter in your pocket, go ahead and use that Amazon link down in the description below to give me a little kickback. That'd be awesome. Don't forget too, you get $25 for using my referral code on crypto.com, also linked in the description. And of course, Hive OS, my favorite mining operating system that is easy to use, straight out of the box, and that is why we use it. We've been asked that question a few times. So there you go. Now, we were going to talk about Ethereum moving to proof of stake, but some recent changes that have been pushed forward as far as in the timeline have kind of shifted that topic to talking about EIP 1559. Most of you have already probably heard about it, and I'm going to try to explain it in the most layman terms possible with, of course, my lack of knowledge on as much of the blockchain there as I have. I do understand some of the basic math here, and hopefully what I've been able to gather from what's going on, I can relay to you in the easiest terms possible. Now, to start it off, EIP, what is that? That is an Ethereum improvement proposal. This one in particular was proposed, has been in the works, and is now getting ready to be released. The number is just noting, of course, the proposal number, so nothing too big there. There are a couple different types of EIPs. One is going to require a full network upgrade, and that is a core EIP. Others don't require full network upgrades. Examples of those that don't would be like the token system, ERC20, where people are allowed to go ahead and start utilizing it, but it didn't require a big change across the entire network. Now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about how this is a little different than both of those. It is going to be a core EIP. However, it will support legacy transactions. This will be important when we start talking about the math later on. And these are going to be simple variables. A plus B equals C. And then A equals C, right? That sort of thing. It shouldn't be too hard to understand. It's pretty straightforward. So, what is EIP trying to do? The first thing it's trying to do is make transaction fees more predictable. How they're proposing to do this is by specifying a minimum fee. This is going to be the first variable, which is going to be called the base fee. And a transaction needs to be included in a block directly in the header. Okay? So you have that base fee. This is how they're going to try to resolve it. The next problem that they want to resolve, or the next proposal for improvement, is going to be reducing the inclusion delays for transactions. They're proposing that they will be doing this by doubling the block size and keeping it half empty most of the time. This, in theory, will basically decrease the transaction times. We can talk about that in a later video and how all this math works out as far as that goes. If you're interested, let me know in the comment section below. Now, finally, they're going to create a positive feedback loop between the network usage and ETH supply. Ooh, this is the big one, guys. For miners, this is a big deal. It's going to be a big deal for a lot of people. When they're talking about supply, the supply on Ethereum is not capped. They are proposing to do this by increasing and lowering the base fee as demand for the block space increases and decreases. So that base fee is going to fluctuate depending on the demand on the network. So for example, on Monday, when it dipped, right, and everybody was, the network was very congested, and that means basically that base fee is going to go higher and higher and higher when people are trying to do more on the network. So keep that in mind. It's kind of an important thing, because what are they going to do with that base fee? So to solve that problem, they say they are going to burn the base fee. What is burning? Burning means that they are going to take that base fee and remove it from the total supply of Ethereum. So if that base fee is 2 Ethereum, they're going to remove that 2 Ethereum, thereby decreasing the total supply of Ethereum. The thought behind this is that it will increase the price of Ethereum, which would maybe work if Ethereum wasn't a capped coin, as Bitsby Trippin so aptly put it on his video earlier today covering this. So we have the base fee. There are going to be two more variables to this fee system, or this new system. We're going to have the fee cap. So at all times there will be a cap on fees. At no time can you go above that fee, and what that's going to do is, in theory, make the transaction costs more predictable. Okay, now along with that is the tip. Now this is where mining comes in. The tip is going to go to the miners, and so if you want your transaction on the network to go through faster, you will increase your tip to put yourself to the front of the line and get your transaction done quicker than somebody else not tipping the miners as much. However, the tip plus the base fee can never exceed the fee cap. The fee cap has not been announced yet from anywhere I can find, so unfortunately we don't know the differences between how much the base fee will fluctuate, how much potential you have for mining, because we also don't understand what the fee cap will be. But as we work through this, we might get a better idea. So fee cap equals base fee plus tip. We talked about them being able to allow legacy transactions. A legacy transaction is all determined by gas fee, and you can basically put a bid on the network to get your transaction done faster by increasing how much you want to pay for that gas fee. And that's what we've shown in MetaMask in some very basic terms previously. So that's kind of where that is. Now, in this case, they're going to support that by making essentially the fee cap equal the gas price. This gets really, really important when we start talking about what happens to the leftovers, okay? So we were talking about them increasing and decreasing the base fee based on network usage. So let's say the network usage is really high and you go ahead and submit a transaction, but then by the time it gets to that, the network usage is low and the base fee decreases. Well, in that case, essentially whatever is left over, so you've paid in already to make that transaction, but now the base fee is decreased, right? So when that base fee decreases, that money is refunded to the user that put in the request for the transaction. It does not go to the miner. The base fee still gets burnt and the tip still goes to the miner. In the case of legacy applications or legacy transactions, the gas price will remain the same. However, as opposed to, let's say they overpaid, right, and the network usage was high and then dipped, in that same scenario, they are going to burn the rest of that fee. That's going to encourage, of course, all of the legacy transactions to upgrade to the new one, because the users are going to get upset that basically they're burning extra money even though the network usage was low when their transaction finally went through. So here's the reasons they are fee burning, and this comes directly from their documentation. I'm not speaking out of terms or saying anything that they didn't say, and it's very eye-opening. First, they're doing it because miners could collude to keep the base fee high. Miners now just get a tip and the block reward. The block reward is the 2 Ethereum that you're rewarded at all times for solving a block. And then the tip now replaces that fee. So because they don't want miners to basically manipulate the network to always have a high base fee and gather that base fee for themselves, they're basically saying, well, we're just going to burn it instead. You kind of have to do that, I guess, because essentially think of it this way, right? If miners started manipulating it and the network usage is high, right, and then it dips, then you would just decrease the hash rate to keep that base fee high. That's essentially what they're trying to prevent people from manipulating by doing the fee burning. Now, they also say fees are a bulk of the miner reward. That's in their documentation here. So because of that, they added fee burning. All right, cool, dude. Just saying. All right, cool, dude. And then finally, the only positive, which I think is only in here to make it sound positive, is the burning of the base fee creates a positive feedback loop between the network and ETH supply, basically increasing price by reducing supply. Not really, because like we talked about before, Ethereum is not a capped coin. But, you know, they address that. Don't worry. Let's talk about some misconceptions. The first misconception that they address is that they say that gas prices will not be lower, as opposed to the belief that this is supposed to solve gas prices being so high. No, this just makes them more predictable. Eek. Okay, so we're just making, that's fine. We get it. More predictable, probably easier for investors. All right. So the next one is that it will make ETH deflationary. What do they mean by deflationary? Well, they're talking about more ETH going out of the network than coming in and being created to the network. So right now, whenever you complete a block as a miner, you create 2 Ethereum. So those are new Ethereum being added to the total supply of ETH. Well, if you're burning off the fees and that base fee keeps going higher as the demand on the network goes higher, if that base fee goes beyond the 2 ETH on the block reward, you start removing ETH from the network, which can cause a lot of issues because whose ETH is it removing, right? Well, they say that this is only true if the transactions, like I explained just now, from the base fee are consistently, that's the keyword that kind of threw me off there, consistently much larger than block rewards. So the tip doesn't contribute to supply reduction, which we understand that the tip's coming from the person submitting the transaction. That's different, right? But the concerning part is they say consistently, meaning that it is possible that it does deflate in some circumstances based on their current formulas for this, which, by the way, will be in the description, and you can check out all of this right here in the resources that I have pulled up. I'll link this down for you guys to go through, and I'd like to hear your thoughts and opinions on this. So I've gone through it all. I've read all of these. And then finally, we do need to talk about security. So here's the deal. There are 2 big issues here. One that they point out and one that really is talked about, of course, in security here is the #1 topic. But in their official documentation and release of this back in December, they talked about essentially because they're doubling that it also doubles the potential for a DOS attack, which is a denial of service attack. So they are increasing the possibility of a denial of service attack slowing down the network significantly, right? Not just by like a few percentages, but by a lot. Now, apparently they're working on this. I haven't seen a resolution. If you guys have heard of a resolution, let me know in the comment section below. Next, we have to worry about a 51% attack to drive the base fee to 0, thereby increasing tip potential. So if you have a fee cap and you have a base fee going up and down, and this isn't even more than a 51% attack, this is just increasing the hash rate with the demand. So this is a problem that I still don't think that they've solved, okay? Even though that they say they solved it, they say you don't have to worry about 51% attack. It's not really a 51% attack. It's like almost like a 100% attack. Like if you control all of the hash rate, or you get miners to collude together to control all of the hash rate, you could potentially decrease the hash rate when the network usage is low, right? And then increase it when it's high to manipulate that base fee. That's the theory, right? And you use the term 51% attack, but it's really just, and you probably would have to have a significant amount of hash power. There are miners that have that. If they got together and worked together, I don't see why you couldn't technically manipulate it in that fashion. And if they can basically keep that base fee to 0 at all times, then they increase the potential for the tip. Because of the fee cap, miners are going to benefit when the base fee is at its lowest, because they will get most of the tip, right? Most of those transaction fees. So that is a security concern that I see, that I also haven't really seen an argument to come against, I guess, or be resolved. I understand that like there's a ton of hash power on Ethereum, probably not as big of a deal. If this was a smaller coin, it would be a much larger deal. So keep those in mind. Then finally, I wanted to talk about this too. In an article, when was this written? This was written on January 11th. So about 4 days ago. For you miners out there, ETH is going to go proof of stake on ETH1 now. Previously, we were expecting it to go proof of stake when it hit ETH2. Now, part of their plan for their roadmap is that they will be moving ETH1 to proof of stake before moving to ETH 2.0. So the idea is that the merge is the point at which we move ETH1 off proof of work and onto proof of stake. Another point of that is that this is a three-pronged attack planned over 2021. So it's safe to assume that they are trying to move ETH1 to proof of stake sometime this year. However, the good news is, when asked about EIP 1559, if we could expect it within the next 3 months or it'll take longer, Tim said almost certainly longer. So we know that EIP 1559 is coming before the move to proof of stake for ETH. And we know that it won't be within the next 3 months. So you're good for Q1. What does this mean for miners? Well, I mean, it's not going to be as profitable. At the end of the day, it doesn't look like EIP is 1559 is in favor of miners at all. In fact, it looks like they're subsidizing miners. And I don't see that as being unexpected, because they are obviously trying to move to proof of stake. So I think everybody could see this coming from day one. There's still going to be profitable coins to mine. You know, a rising tide raises all ships, as Bits has been known to say, and everybody in the crypto space. All those altcoins are coming up. Raven profitability is up, even though the coin's not up, which is surprising, right? Grin profitability is up. You're going to have other coins to mine. Is it going to be as profitable as Ethereum is right now? No, but you're also going to be able to buy graphics cards again for a decent price. So buy smart, get in when the graphics cards are cheap, start mining something that maybe looks promising. We have the Raven halving coming up in 2022. Wink, wink, okay? So when you can get some good Raven mining cards, even though it is very power hungry on Kapow, look into that. Don't buy any graphics cards right now to mine Ethereum thinking you're going to be able to mine it for 2 years and double your money. That's not going to happen, okay? It's very clear that they want to move to proof of stake. They want to start encouraging more people to conduct more transactions on the network, and as part of that, their focus is definitely going to be that over the miners. And this is where we're at. As miners, this is where we're at. This is what they think of us, okay? They don't care about you. They care about Ethereum, and that's a fair point, okay? I get it. Do I support it? I'm not sure. Like I said, there's some risks here that don't make sense to me, especially if you're planning on moving ETH1 to proof of stake within the year. I don't get this move. I don't understand it. That does tell me that it's probably going to be mineable longer than the year. I think the statement that they're going to be going, you know, proof of stake on ETH1 sometime this year is a little further out. You know, I don't think they're going to reach that goalpost, so I wouldn't worry about it. But, you know, just stay healthy, stay strong, and keep mining. Keep your hash rates high and your watts low. And I will see you next Tuesday.